Text me and I'll text you back. Text me and I'll text you back. Text me then I'll text you back. You text me then I'll text you back. Text me then I'll text you back. TikTok, you don't stop. I will help you make your paper stack. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at now? 205-964-52439. You know. 205-964-52439. You know.
Good evening for April 28th, Flippinar 220. We're here to talk about real estate investing with a strong emphasis on wholesaling real estate where your cash or credit doesn't matter. Low risk, high reward opportunity. We have the full house in here tonight with both of the lovely young ladies, Miss Williams and Miss Prince Lavender. And so,
whole name. Just threw a whole name out there. You want to add the first name too? You want my middle name?
I don't know the middle one. Anyway, if you want to join us on the live stream, text the word Gator to the number, and we'll add you onto the live stream to get your questions answered. You have your own little seminar going on here. Over to you, AP.
All right. Yeah, this is me, Adria, Prince Lavender, the whole name. Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us on this Thursday evening. This is a place where you can ask your questions in regards to wholesaling real estate with little to no cash and credit, in addition to other real estate investment methods. So you're in a good place, especially if you're interested in building generational wealth for your family. As Ty mentioned, we do have the beautiful Miss Renikia here joining us live. So Renikia, how are you doing today?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm well. So glad to hear. Guys, go ahead and post those questions in the chat. I'll read the questions. They'll answer the questions. And again, as Ty mentioned, text that word Gator, Gator, to the number 205-964-5243. You can come on live, ask your question, your follow-up question, and your follow-up question after that, if you choose to. Right on the show. So I want to give a shout out to BB Bolger, Deborah D, Mr. Parnell, Solomon Oswald, Queen and Queens World, Karanda. I see you all in the chat. Thank you for joining us. On Instagram and TikTok between the two, I see D Natural Life, Kelly _Holloway, Skated 54, Manyo, Lex Magnus, and plenty of you other guys. Thank you as well for joining us tonight. And we're just going to jump right into this. Karanda Glover has our first question of the evening, and Karanda wants to know, how do you feel about buying and selling tax liens?
I'm trying to start it off. I think tax liens is one of the biggest kept secrets of real estate investing that is not talked about a lot. A lot of people kind of shy away from it because you got to hold it for 1 year. Not, as if all fix and flips is usually about 8 months to 12 months to flip out anyway. But I love tax liens. I think as a real estate investor, you should have a diversified portfolio and make sure that you are always purchasing tax liens on an annual basis, for sure.
Yeah, they're definitely another option out there. So a sea of opportunity when you start talking about real estate and the number of ways you can make money with it, and tax liens could be a strong indicator that that owner, person that still may have the redemption rights to the property, may be a motivated seller. So it could still just be a normal deal by just targeting those individuals, and whatever unpaid taxes are settled at the closing as they normally would be, assuming the numbers work, meaning you have the price that you need to deal to work. What they owe is less than that amount, and they're willing to accept something in that range. So most definitely.
All right. Thank you for
also, you need to understand your state laws too, because each property tax lien laws are different state by state. So just may take you a little trip down to the courthouse, county courthouse, go to that division. Someone explains the process, and then you can figure out what your game plan would be, whether it's a hold or exit strategy or exit strategy.
All right. Thank you for answering that question there. Priscilla Richardson has the next. Hello, Flipman and team. Do you have a video on how to find a good market in any state?
Well, actually, I do. It's if you look up hot zip codes and Flipman on YouTube, that video will somewhat break one method of determining that. You're just basically using a free website like Zillow, and you first must identify all the zip codes in a particular market, depending on the market size. It could be 10 or it may be 100 zip codes, but it takes a little manual research for you to do it. You basically just identify the most property sold in particular zip codes, and then it'll be up to you on which ones you want to target from there. So you were looking for activity. You were looking for the most activity is basically one. And the easiest way to do that is, well, I don't know if there's the easiest way, but the one I can think about the way I would go about it and have gone about it is where are the most sales going on? You can set it for whatever time frame, 3 months, a month, 6 months, 12 months, or whatever. You want to see where the sales activity is happening.
Okay. Still waiting on one of you ladies and gents to join us live and ask your question. Just text that word Gator 205-964-5243. We'd love to have you on. I see we have New York City, Houston, DMV, Georgia, all in the house in the chat. Keep posting those questions so we'll have more content. And believe it or not, the questions that you're asking are helping someone else. So Deborah D wants to know, how can a person purchase a home that needs rehab that a person wants to live in for themselves?
That's a good question. So there's a loan product, a traditional loan product that's called a 203K loan. So I would recommend for you to utilize a 203K loan if you're bankable, to just utilize a 203K loan. Or you can kind of get creative, maybe utilize a private lender to take the property down, rehab the property, and then you can refinance out. Does that mean? No. Then you can refinance out to a traditional loan product like an FHA loan or a conventional. So I think those are probably the two options for you to rehab a property that you want to stay in.
Okay. Thank you for that. Randy, yo Flip, love your content so much. Value for free. You be dropping gems all the time. I would have to agree, Randy. Yes, absolutely. So Sad, you have a question. It's actually the question topic of the video today. So I'm going to read it, but we'll come back and make sure you stay tuned. So we'll answer it. Your question was, does wholesaling consist of only rundown and distressed and pre-foreclosures? Nope. But the question of the evening is, can you only wholesale distressed houses? So we will follow up and make sure that question is answered, possibly by the halfway mark. Let's go ahead and see if we get more people to join us. Okay, Randy? I'm sorry, that's Side. So we'll make sure we get that question answered. Next, Dreams Made Alive wants to know, does cash on cash mean cash flow for rentals?
Really great question. No, it's actually two different terminologies. Cash on cash return is basically stating, okay, if you was looking to purchase this property and you may be using a lender or something of that nature, but the cash on cash return basically mean that, hey, it may cost you $100,000 to purchase a property, but a lender came in and gave you $80,000, but you only put in $20,000. So, but in that $20,000 that you put in, you made $100,000, or for simple math, just say you made $100,000. That means that you put up $20,000 to make a $100,000 return. That's your cash on cash return. Rental cash flow is just rents. Just the cash flow from having a rental property is what a rental cash flow term is, which is kind of different, very different from cash on cash return. if I swing.
Okay, thank you. So let's see here. Priscilla has a follow-up. Priscilla, you should come join us. This is exactly what the Gator Call is for. But her follow-up question into the video about finding good markets was, what are the areas or things that would make an investor stay away from in terms of neighborhood? And is there really a buyer for every house?
Great question.
I guess technically it could be, but well, a lot of it's about timing, right? Because neighborhoods flip or have the ability to flip. And sometimes now I can think about one particular neighborhood here in Birmingham. You know, I've looked at houses over the years and had a couple under contract. I've never been able to move anything over there or whatever. It is that tough or whatever. It's not a lot of transactions. You can see some. Normally it's people when it's a neighborhood like that. Normally people that buy there grew up there or whatever, and they don't see it the way the rest of your city sees it. You know what I'm saying? So, but I've had houses over in that neighborhood. I can't get them cheap, and I had one under contract for $500 one time and couldn't move it.
It was rented?
No, it wasn't rented. It wasn't
Oh.
rented. It wasn't rented. $500 and couldn't move it. So it is possible. It is possible. But normally the way real estate works is that you can maybe find a buyer for, we're talking cash buyers now. If you get it cheap enough, I don't know, $500 almost like free. You know what I'm saying? So,
they thought about that. They thought about that rehab call that wasn't free.
Yeah, to see the rehab sometimes won't justify paying for it. They can give it to you and may not justify it. Just depending on the area. It can be that I don't know what the word is for it, but it can be, I don't want to say that bad, but it can be in that particular area of a particular neighborhood can be that distressed. It may just be a couple of blocks like that or whatever. Because I could just think, just going outside of the Birmingham market, just going up to Baltimore, they have whole blocks of those row houses and ain't nothing going on in them. You know what I'm saying? Right. They all boarded up or whatever. But you can go over a street over and you'll see rehab going on. It's amazing how it works there. And I guess you have to be there to see what the rhyme or reason is on that. Now, it's a little of that in certain neighborhoods in Birmingham where you're like, what it's going, well, really it's just called, you have the major street, and then one side of it, the houses, and it's still, if you just go by, like crime and stuff like that, it's no different on one side of the street or the other. But for some reason, investors like one side of it than the other or whatever. So sometimes you can't, that's why virtual wholesaling can be tricky, because if you don't know that, you'll say, well, the comps, they right here. It's only a 0.1 or 0.2 miles away. Yeah, but you crossed over that street or whatever, that main street, everything changes. Or that railroad track. Sometimes it can be that or whatever. It changes. When they say it's the wrong side of the tracks, that's real. I can think about just two neighborhoods here. I could just name a Woodlawn, part of Woodlawn, and then you got Crestwood. Once you cross over those railroad tracks, you're on one side or the other. Houses can be in the 50s and 60s up to 500,000, just literally crossing on the railroad track or whatever. So, yeah, it's now both of them are still zoned for the same school systems. It's just that the people that live on that side where the houses are more expensive, generally speaking, they're doing one or two things: homeschooling or private school or whatever. So that's real estate, though. So
And I'll add to that as well. Because when I first started real estate 15, 17, 18 years ago, well, about 16 years ago, um, the saying was location, location, location. But I beg to differ today. I think today is numbers, numbers, numbers. Because if the numbers work, the location gonna work. So I would say investors, to me, it's not necessarily about a neighborhood. I think as investors, we buy equity, no matter what neighborhood is in. And so if I need to pick up that $500 house, but I need to put up 50,000, if it's only worth 50,000, it's not the neighborhood. The terms just don't make sense to me. So at the end of the day, I think more investors focus on the numbers despite the neighborhood. I think numbers is somewhat almost more important than the location, because I feel if the numbers work, the location almost gonna work as well. So I think it's all about the terms and equity and the deal itself versus the neighborhood.
All right. Thank you for answering Miss Priscilla's question. Thank you, Miss Priscilla. Yeah, it was a really good one. I'm sure you, as I've mentioned before, any question here is helping someone. I'm sure they're thinking it, maybe just don't know how to put it into words. So thank you. Thank you. So Mr. Andre Wright wants to know, do you all think you can wholesale a fire damaged property? So
Done it. Done,
yeah,
done,
but
done it all.
Deals, I would say.
yeah. So what are the hiccups that you could run into with the fire damaged property?
It just
Yeah.
repairs.
Yeah. It becomes part of the scope of work. There's no hiccups.
Just repair. Either it can be renovated or it can't.
Right.
You can find houses that don't have fire damage and it can be that situation. It's just not going to be worth trying to, it's just better just to tear it down and start back up, assuming that the neighborhood justifies that. At 100 and what's construction costs, new construction, maybe $150 a square foot. Yeah, so you went up. So 1,000 square feet will be $150,000. So you can't. That wouldn't make sense in a $75,000 neighborhood.
And I was saying you can negotiate really good with sellers with fire damage house, because they don't know how much damage the house is. So you can really negotiate it as far down as possible, because they're just thinking that it's something that needs to be tear down, and they somewhere is willing to give it away for cheaper than if it didn't have a fire damage. So I think you can really find some good terms with fire damage properties, but it's no different from a dilapidated property, a vacant property. Just run your numbers. If the numbers make sense, is a deal.
Sometimes it's just literally smoke damage and water damage.
Smoke damage. It just look bad, but it's really sometimes just smoke damage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. On Instagram, I am a strong survivor. Axe Flipman is the man. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. I would agree. And so would our listeners. Let's do a place check. So we have Hawaii, North Carolina, Southwest Michigan, Miami, Pennsylvania, Orlando. Oh my gosh, you got some reach there, y'all. Thank you. I love seeing where you guys are from. And yeah, there's Georgia again. So yeah, that's cool. Let me know where you are. So next question is going to be from Karen Parrish. How realistic is it to wholesale auction properties besides ensuring the numbers work?
You got to buy them first.
You got to buy them. You got to buy them. Now there's some states that give you like 3 months to come back and buy it. But the average states, you got to buy the day of a lot of times. But there's some states that give you a few months to come back and buy it. If someone give you a few months, you got the ability to do a lot of things if they give you a few months to do that. But I think you can't assign it. I think it has to be more of a double closing.
Okay. Queen and Queens wants to know, what should she do next? So she says I've been working a free and clear list, cold calling, but I'm having no luck. What's my next list to target?
When you say you've had no luck, what type of responses are you getting? Are you getting responses? Then what type of responses are you, if you are? How much follow-up is going into that, into those calls? You may want to target a different lane also. Don't know where it is, but I'll get it up here in a minute. You may want to build a list of landowners, and this video here will help you with that. Just text through word MUD, M-U-D. That video will show you how to build this, but also provide a script so you can talk the talk.
Okay.
But you can answer those other questions that I asked. Also.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll follow up in the bottom there if you want to answer those follow-up questions. So, San Francisco Bay Area. I see you, Cali. Okay. John, who's in Phoenix, which is a massive city. So he says, I'm in Phoenix, which is a massive city. How large of an area should I focus on? Okay, so normally we have listeners who say, is my city big enough for me to wholesale? So now we have the opposite. My city is so huge. How do I narrow this thing down?
Wherever you want to start, you're going to probably be okay. You can just start with what you're comfortable with at this point. In a city that large, one of the faster growing cities, just start, just start with what you're comfortable with. What you're familiar with is what I'm trying to say. And you can expand out there. Don't limit yourself to that by no means. But just start with what you're comfortable with. Now, if you're in a, let me back up. Now, if you're in a area, I say you can't do deals in those areas. They tend to be a little tougher in the A areas. That's the higher price. Your properties that are 7 figures plus, which Phoenix definitely has that, or whatever. Those will be a little tougher. So even if you're in a B area out there, that's still going to be in the high 600s, 6 figures. I mean, I generally like to try to lead people more to the C areas because it's more. The closer you get to the D, the more equity is going to possibly be. But don't limit yourself to either one. I'm just saying the A area is definitely tough. Normally those owners are a little bit more savvier or whatever. They acquired that money, That not that they don't have problems, but normally it's just a lot tougher or whatever. The B get a little easier, C gets a little easier, D definitely gets easier. So,
and I totally agree, and I also add to that, like just being here and being in the wholesale industry here in Atlanta. I think one of the ways, which is a massive city somewhat, I think one of the ways that a lot of investors tap into is they do their research on the hottest zip codes, which zip codes have, the most transactions in, where people want to live. I mean, you narrow down, some areas in the city is more rental areas. Some areas in the city is more flipping areas. So you can narrow it down where, okay, this zip code is a more flipping zip code. This zip code is more of a rental zip code, or this zip code is dilapidated. I can probably, I can probably wholesale a lot more. So I will kind of maybe start off by narrowing it down with zip codes, because a lot of times you can find a lot of deals per zip code, and you can kind of narrow down the different things that you can do in those zip codes.
All right, thank you. Oh, look at y'all. Northern New Jersey, Memphis, Northern Virginia, Cincinnati. Okay, I see y'all. All right. Alex Reyna, when comping properties, is it a good idea to also look at flips in the area?
Well, yeah, a lot of that's what you're looking at. It really doesn't matter. People, they live in their house. They take care of it. They're always taking care of it with the intent of knowing they're going to probably sell it one day, so they don't have to go through a full renovation. So when they say, hey, we finna buy a new house, so we're going to sell this house, they just have to put it on the market because it's been taken care of or whatever. So definitely, flips will be a part of that, that you're fixing flippers, but it's a combination. Comp is a comp, no matter how it came about. Normally, the appraiser is comparing what he considers close to retail condition to retail condition or whatever. So, but those will just automatically be a part of it. So
yeah, I totally agree. I mean, if that property you got to comp based on the exit. You know, if you X and your X is a rental property, then you're not looking at fix and flip properties. You're looking at other as is properties that may be, you know, renting their properties as well. Your exit is to flip it, and then your comps has to be somewhat at the repair value comps to know exactly what you can do with that. Yeah.
Okay. Queen and Queens did follow up. She said, I'm getting no answers, wrong numbers, cussed out, not interested, already sold the property.
Oh, you're getting activity. It ain't
Yeah.
good. But
They responded.
Yeah. So what list did she deal? You remember?
A free and clear list.
Try your tired landlords list. Try that. Build a list with that. It's still going to bleed over to some of the same stuff, but your tired landlords list. One of the reasons you target those is that a lot of times they're going to own. In most cases they already own multiple properties, but like they own 5 or 6, 7, sometimes a lot more or whatever. But your tired landlords list, but also as I said, incorporate targeting landowners. They tend to be, just from my experience, a lot more receptive. The response rate is a lot higher compared to houses because there's not a lot of competition and they're not getting bombarded like people that own houses through text, cold calling, and all those methods or whatever. So,
okay,
that's competition.
A user on TikTok wants to know, can I buy outside my state?
Most definitely.
Wherever you want to buy. Yeah, outside the country.
Hey, this thing they call the internet, what you're on right now, is so powerful.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Hello, Michael Brown from Columbia, South Carolina. And Val Turner, I think you have a video for this, Ty, wants to know the best place to post Bandit signs, neighborhoods, highways, on off ramps. I put out signs in neighborhoods and someone took them down.
That's not uncommon.
You got competition.
Yeah, sometimes it just be those folks that live there. You have a couple. You have a crew. They didn't band it together. You know what I'm saying? We going. It's your Saturday to take them down. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's cool. Hopefully, you didn't do too many. Ideally, you want to place signs where other signs exist. That's where you always want to start. You can test some areas, and you really want to test. Period. You don't want to go crazy putting out signs whenever you start. The worst thing you can do is you have 100 signs. You put out 100 signs over a 2 to 3 day period, and that 4th day they all down. That is so you want to test, but definitely you want to scout your area and see where signs already exist. Normally, you're going to be able to get away with yours there. Also, you're basically let someone else do the hard work figuring out where they can get away with them. And you're just going to piggyback off of their success and hard work. At least if they're up and they look like some of them, you can tell that they've been worn, they've been weathered, been up a while, been faded. Those are definitely areas you want to place yours in. I'm saying again, you can't test in other areas, but that's where you want to start with other signs already exist. Again, I have a video, like I just said, just do Flipman, ride along, and that video on YouTube, and it's like a real good demo video. So,
and also be mindful, like during the week, someone probably will take them down. The public enforcer person comes around and they work Monday through Friday. So if you are putting them up during the week, 9 times out of 10, they're riding around and they're snatching them up as well during the week. So.
All right. Thank you for answering that. T. Smith says, single wide mobile homes are often very, very difficult to get traditionally financed, even on private land acreage. Do investors shy away from single wides?
I think investing in single wide is really great, but I think from a financing standpoint, most single wides are not fixed to the land. So it's one of them things where most private lenders are just not financing mobile homes, and things are just not fixed to the land. And that's really the issue that you all are coming up with. It's just not a property that's really fixed to the land. I mean, you can pick it up and move it anywhere. So at that point, what are you financing? If it's not fixed to the land, like a regular single family home is fixed to the land, you're not picking it up, moving it anywhere. But most mobile wides, single wide, double wide, they're never usually fixed to the land. So that's why it's very hard to get financing on it.
Well, they have actual financing out there for mobile homes, but like you said, the issue is normally it's got to be attached to some land. So it's really like they're financing the land or whatever, especially if it's an older mobile home. They're really not even taking that into consideration in a lot of cases. Now, your smaller rural country banks, you know, they do a lot of that stuff, you know, because that's they have to. You know what I'm saying? Because that's their client base in a lot of cases. Because a lot of people in rural areas have mobile homes, but a lot of people in rural areas own the land that they own. It may be a single wide mobile home, but it's sitting on 25 acres. Yeah,
Right.
we'll finance that.
We'll finance it.
So, but they're really financing the land. So.
Yeah, the community banks all day. Those community banks definitely start your community banks when it comes to things like that.
Okay, so Alex Reyna wants to know if you're looking for land deals, is it okay to look at land that has no homes in the area?
Yeah, yes, that's how developments happen. You know, you might have made no houses there, and a lot of times you can tell, like, man, there's no other houses around but this development right here. You know what I'm saying? So at some point, that was just a raw piece of land. But, you know, normally other developments will follow behind or whatever. But that's normally how it happens. Yeah, there's nothing there or whatever. So, but it's close enough to some town or city that it makes sense, or some type of plant or somewhere they think they can. You know, they've done normally, you know, the home builders have done their research that they think they can sell them. So, but that's where it normally starts. There's nothing there. So.
I think buying land, regardless, is just a value add to your portfolio over time. You know, yeah. I mean, all this land will be developed at one point in time. So if you can buy it and sit on it, because no one's developing now, but 10 years from now, that city has grown to the point where now we out there developing by your land, you know, so land just have value no matter where it is.
They don't make no more of it.
Okay. Roderick has opted to join us live and ask questions. How are you doing, Roderick?
I'm good. Thank you. How about yourselves?
I'm well. You've joined us before. Where are you calling from again?
Yeah, Upper Marlboro, Maryland, just outside of DC.
There you go. What you got for us tonight?
Good evening.
Yeah, Prince George's County, Maryland. So, all right, I'm new at this, and I've come across some houses that are owned by banks. So they've kind of, you know, caught my attention. What is the process for? Well, I called one number that, you know, was on the door of a home, and it stated it needed the contact person needs to be a realtor or some professional in that area. What advice can you give me for that? Does that realtor need to have a specialty in dealing with homes owned by banks?
By who?
Those are foreclosures.
By who?
Those are just foreclosures. By banks.
Oh,
by banks.
Okay.
I mean, those are really just foreclosures. And all you have to do is figure out what bank owns it. You can contact the asset manager. 9 times out of 10, you won't be able to do business directly to the asset manager because most banks only sell their property through a realtor. So what they'll do is let you know that, hey, this property either listed with the realtor or it's going to be listed with a realtor. And if it is listed with a realtor or a broker, they're going to give you the contact information or who you can contact regarding purchasing it. If not, then they may tell you later in the line is in the pipeline to be listed. You just got to continue to follow up to see when it will be listed with a broker. But you start off speaking with the asset manager.
Yeah, what you have to realize with not all banks, but most banks, you know, they're technically not in the real estate business, right? they're in the lending business.
Right.
Having foreclosure is a byproduct of them lending money because everybody don't pay them. So they have to try to recoup their losses. And that's by taking the property back. So they just can't sit there and field calls all day of people wanting to buy real estate from them. So when they're ready, whatever their process is, they turn it over to a real estate agent, and the real estate agent lists the property and let them do their thing or whatever. So now, like we were just talking about the smaller banks, you may run into a smaller bank that may would deal with you on that level or whatever, but in most cases, they just don't want to fool with it because they're not really in the real estate business in that sense. They're in the business of loaning money on real estate or whatever. So, and then as far as wholesaling, those are so difficult to wholesale without having the right. You just got to have so many things in place to just go right because the bank is going to control the entire process. And part of the reason why you can be successful as a wholesaler is that you are controlling at least the seller side of the deal. And if the bank is the seller and they're not allowing you to control the deal, namely assigning it, namely double closing it, it's easier deals out there. Yeah. At this point. Now, if you want to just buy it for yourself or whatever, again, you can reach out to them. You never know. Sometimes it's just as simple. You got the right person on the phone one day. Yeah, well, let me see if I can push that up the ladder and see if we can go ahead and, they still might have to place a realtor with it, but they might they might list it and take it right out the market because you put a contract on it or whatever. You may get that fortunate, but in the most part, they're gonna go through that normal process. Now, if you call up there and want to buy 50 houses, okay, now we got somebody you can talk. You talk about one at a time? Nah, that ain't worth that time. Yeah, you want to buy 50 houses out of that portfolio of foreclosures? Oh, hold on one moment. Different conversation.
Yeah. All right, good stuff.
And also, just be mindful when you are buying bank properties. Foreclosure, things of that nature. The bank has to approve the HUD. I want to say 10 out of 10, but I'm gonna say 9 times out of 10, they're not approving the HUD with a wholesaling fee on it. They're just not assignment fee on it. They're not gonna approve it like that at all. So you have to, you have to just be very creative, double close it, bring transactional funding, for sure, to make that work.
Hey, y'all have given me some good information. So all right, I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time.
You're trying to wholesale it now. You got other plans, but you're trying to wholesale it. There's easier deals out there, my man. Yeah.
All right.
See, I know when most people get into real estate and you think about real estate investing or you think about a great deal in real estate, the first thing people think about is a foreclosure. And it still exists, but banks have gotten smart over these last 15 to 20 years, and they just not giving houses away like that. They know they could a lot of times the way they took it back as is, they can put it back on the market and get close to reach, especially in the way it is now or whatever. So they just, there's some neighborhood. It's still based on where it's located, the condition and stuff, but a lot of times they just not doing what they used to do years ago. And it's not like, you're probably my age or whatever, we thought, foreclosures were secrets. Ain't no secret. Everybody has access to them because real estate agents, before the internet, you only knew about it unless they let you know about it. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. So it's not like that. Everybody, all the investors that you're going to probably reach out to, that you're going to wholesale to, if they don't know about it, it's only because they didn't look at it. But it's been sent to them. You didn't find anything that wasn't probably already sent to them or whatever, because agents say, you'll meet a real estate agent. Oh, let me send you some deals, an investor or whatever. Only thing they're doing is just go on the MLS, put in whatever criteria you said that you want, and put you on the email list. They're not sending you anything special because all of that stuff is already on Zillow that you can look up yourself. Now, again, years ago, before the internet, that was powerful. But now, unless you just, I ain't gonna say lazy. Some people is not tech savvy as other. So yeah, you might need that for that to happen. But in reality, everything's on Zillow. If it's listed, it's on Zillow. It doesn't make sense for them not to do it because Zillow is the Google of residential real estate. So and that's the first thing that buyers, go to when they want to look for houses. They're going to go and just Google, I want to buy a house in Atlanta. So Zillow's going to pop up and just start just giving you a list of houses that agents have posted. Of course, for sale by owners there also, but it's not really doing anything special in that sense. We just say.
Good information. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Roderick, and stay here. Make sure you post any questions and come back and join us whenever you have more to ask.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night. Charmaine Wiley from TikTok. I'm so glad that you finally caught one of our lives as well. Thank you for joining us. So Mall_Smalls says, what would you say is the best way to market vacant land to commercial cash buyers?
What do you say?
Vacant land to commercial cash buyers. What's the best way to market it?
Market vacant land to
commercial cash buyers.
Well, a lot of times, if you have the database or the tools, you can search to see who's buying what, and you can reach out to them. Again, depending on what tool you're using, by phone, but definitely by mail, because you have to have a mailing address listed on where the if nothing else, where the tax bill is going. You want to seek out commercial brokers that deal with a lot of commercial land deals, commercial real estate brokers. That's going to be probably one of the main sources, is just building relationships with them. If you're going to be in that lane, you need to probably spend a portion of your day, networking with commercial real estate brokers that deal with a lot of commercial land sales. So.
All right. Thank you. So hey, Tyler from Seattle and Vince White, thank you for joining us. So earlier, Ty, you mentioned, as we typically do, about ABCD areas, and Illuminated Light wants to know, what do you mean? And could you break that down?
That's a great name.
Great question.
Illuminated Light.
Illuminated Light.
All right. So, so this is my definition. I don't know if I'm even right on it. That's my understanding. So here we go. So when they break down neighborhoods now, don't take this as one neighborhood as far as the people being better than another one, right?
It's not the people. We're talking about the real estate.
We're just talking about the real estate. So normally, the A neighborhood, most people can relate to this. The A neighborhood is going to be where the most expensive houses are in your market, whatever that is. If that's in the hundreds of thousands, or if that's in the millions, so be it. I'm like, well, some property, some neighborhoods, it can still be a B neighborhood or a C neighborhood in some situations, still be a million. You got a few markets like that, but for the most part, most of the country, the properties that are high six figures, seven figures, are normally going to be your A neighborhoods, right? For most of the country. All right. But now, whatever the lowest price number is, and you could just put in, like, if you just put in Atlanta, even though Atlanta is vast and it's made up of a lot of different municipalities, counties, or whatever, but if you just put in Atlanta, right, Georgia, and go there to Zillow and do for sale single family houses, you just filter it out. And then there's another filter there once over there by the pictures of the houses if you're doing it on a desktop or laptop, and they'll normally be just defaulted to newest, meaning the most newest listings. If you click on that button or that tab and select low to high, that's going to tell you what those zip codes are going to tell you, the D neighborhoods, generally speaking. And if you do from high to low, that's going to normally tell you where your A neighborhood. So if you know what the D's are, you can figure out what the C's are. If you know what the A's are, you can figure out what the B's are. Normally the D neighborhoods, just being real about it, normally those are the neighborhoods that they start the local news off with every night. Normally.
Okay, so listen, see if you agree with this, okay?
Yeah, the D boys.
Huh?
A-class neighborhood, you'll typically find your professionals like lawyers, doctors, executives. Houses or yards are usually well kept, streets bustling. Newer homes, typically newer homes built in the last few years. They have luxury finishes, upgrades, outdoor space, and garage. B neighborhoods are going to be your working class neighborhoods.
It doesn't have to be new houses.
I just said it. I said typically.
Oh, I'm gonna
okay.
say, oh no.
Yeah, let me keep going. B, home to working class people, teachers, firefighters, nurses. These are just general when you think about working class, putting your idea. Many investors believe that B real estates are the safest option. They're normally less than 20, could be more, mid-grade, average quality finishes. C are going to be your labor workers, labor neighborhoods. They can vary greatly. And
C gonna probably have the most range. You know what I'm saying? But
maintenance repair costs will generally be as much or higher than B properties, but B and C is kind of like a gray area. And then D, neighborhoods are basically described as war zones. Neighborhoods and houses.
That ain't you the war zone term.
I know. I'm just reading. Neighborhoods. No, listen. Neighborhoods.
If y'all notice, You've never used it, but I probably use it saying what somebody else has said. But I just have not liked that term.
I know it makes it. I know it just gives it. It gives it a negative, negative connotation. But okay, so neighborhood.
Stay out of the war zone. That's what they always say. Stay out of the war zone. Oh,
okay, so neighborhoods, the houses are typically older. You're going to have a higher population of dilapidated and homes in despair. You're going to have vacant, boarded up buildings, graffiti, vandalism, and more blank activity.
Yeah.
But
I think to us who have all kind of grew up in these neighborhoods, we don't look at them as war zones.
Nah, I don't.
A lot of us we don't look at these as war zones. These are other people looking at these neighborhoods as war zones. These are really a lot of our communities we grew up in.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, but this is the key part. I didn't read the affordability for the ABC, but for D, affordability, properties in these areas are very affordable and cash flow is well on paper. Only thing is cost of repairs.
You have to
make D neighborhoods.
You have to have some serious management skills. Yeah, that's what. If you
collecting your rent,
ain't built to manage rentals and what in. In D areas. Right. Everybody ain't built to manage those. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. You got to have some tough skin to collect that rent.
If you can do that, you can get flat out rich.
Yeah. I mean, nobody wants to say about it, but it's normally guaranteed.
In the D areas, be able to manage rentals, you can get rich quick.
But you also thinking that's mostly where your guaranteed income houses. You fill in the blank if you want. Well, you're going to get your money regardless every month. Yeah. So
honestly, I would say this. D areas has the greatest gold. Because these words, this wordplay will make us think that we need to stay away from the D areas. No, the D areas has the greatest upside. You want to be in the D area. You want to be in these communities. The communities we grew up in, just keep it real, are the communities that have the most gold. It has the most gold. It has the most upside. There's no upside a lot of times in these higher end communities. The reach is maxed out a lot of times. So it's, I don't want us to think of it as if it's something we should stay away from. No, we need to build up the D area.
Mm-hmm. There you have it. Illuminated light. Hopefully we shed some light on ABCD. And yeah, Yolanda, you're right. D is the money sign. Dollar sign. Dollar sign. D is for dollar. There you go.
D is for dollar, baby. Yes.
D is for dollar.
It's coming to the dollar area.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
D for D.
D for D. D for D. That can go a lot of ways right there, but
you know what? We just driving for dollars. Let's clarify. Because after midnight, that D for D turns something else. I'm just saying. Okay, this is PG.
G.
Yes. Okay, so
do they even have G rated anymore?
Heck,
don't know what that is. What is it?
Yeah, Disney be tripping.
Yeah, Disney to be trending. You know, they have like the PGs. It's not like PG-13. It's like PG-10 and PG something. It just goes down. But shoot, general rated. Oh goodness, I would say still mostly Disney. But yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, so everyday hustle. We haven't done these is it a deal questions in a while. So we got some numbers going here. I have a property with an ARV of 360K. With an asking price of 200. The repairs are around 60. Is this a deal? And in your opinion, what would you assign it for?
Well, just you said 60 in repairs?
Yes. So 260 left 100 out there.
Well, generally speaking, like I said, I came up with a simple way to come up with your assignment fee. Right, 7 to 10% of the ARV is normally it could be a good range. It's negotiable. You know, sometimes you end up taking a lot less than what you thought you were going to make just to make the deal happen. But on that deal, 360 times 70% minus 60,000 is 192. So off the top, including repairs based on 200. Is not a deal. Now, if you only want to make $5,000 or so, you still may be able to make it work at 200. You know, it's close enough. Tight though, that's tight. So I would be trying to make about 30, 35 on it. So I would need to be around like 150 something or whatever. Again, but you know, you got a lot of flexibility. But that's a really tight deal. Close though, it's close.
Okay, thank you. Hopefully, everyday hustle, you got that. And as Ty mentioned, you can go to the Deal You Later calculator on dealyoulater.com and
let me back up. Yeah,
okay.
you could probably make $10,000 on that with no problem. You probably make $10,000. It'll be close. It'll be tight. You probably make $10,000. Okay. It can't be no mistakes on that 60,000 though. That needs to be pretty close.
That or lower.
Yeah, or lower. Yeah, or lower. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There was another one. Okay, let's give a shout out to Tasia Tate. Tasia Tate says, I'm only 19, but I got my 5th property under contract in the last 50 days. Thanks to you.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you're close.
Okay.
Step one.
Queen Tate.
You got it under contract.
Queen Tate. Hey, that's the first step. Hey,
okay.
Closer to the money.
Yeah, if you're closing them, what have you done on the other 4? You made $100K on those other 4.
Okay. That's we're gonna make some money off that. Yeah, there you go.
Let us know what's up.
19-year-old. Wasn't that part of one of the podcasts? Can a 19-year-old child do this?
Oh yeah.
19-year-old.
Yeah, kind of 5th grader.
5th grader. Okay.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Okay. So Jamel David Scott, whole name out there. They put your whole name out there too, Jamel. Okay. This is another is the deal. So the property is worth about $750 to $800. So we'll teeter on the low end, $750. 2 houses down from it, it goes to 1.2. I have it under contract at 538.
That's a wide range from 1.2 to 800. That has to be a square footage play or difference, I would assume. We would need to know a little bit more information, but assuming ARV is the 750, what do you say you got on contract for what?
538.
He didn't give us any repairs, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, so the deal only makes sense if you understand all the numbers. So how much would the repairs be? But I would say this, I will since it's 2 houses down, that's very, very close. I will look at the house that sold for 800,000. I will take a look at the house that sold for 1.2. What is the difference in these two houses? Like, is there more bedroom, more bath? Is it, a modern style? This was a rehab. Is this a new construction versus a rehab? Like, what is it? And if you want to get the 1.2, you got to do very similar renovations. If that's a new construction, most likely it's probably a new construction. If it is, then you're going to have to tear your property down, rebuild it to end up getting that comp for the 1.2. But just evaluate the repairs and the renovations of those 2 properties to determine what can you do to get closer to that 1.2 in your property.
Hey, Solomon, I see you down in my box there, but I do not see that you have your video turned on. So as soon as I see you, wave at me and I'll bring you on live to join us to ask your questions. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, he's down there. I just don't see him picture. Okay, so Val Turner has one more and put one more in there. One more question. What's the rule of thumb for condos? There's a 4-condo development that got messed up by a tornado. One owner is down with getting money. The other said is getting torn down. What do I do?
Wait a minute. So it's four condos. And she's only dealing with 2 of the owners, or
maybe they own them all. They can own them all.
Yeah, we got to get a little more clarity on that.
Okay, Val.
Is it 4 owners or 2 owners that own 2 each, or one owns 1 and 3 other? You know, we need a little more clarity on that.
It seems like one of them wants to sell, get money, and the other one wants to tear it down. So that sounds like he want to keep it and rebuild them, but it's just
okay.
But at the end of the day, if owners are all over the place, there's nothing you can do about it until they come to an agreement to sell to you. If everybody needs to sign off on it, one of them don't want to sign, one of them do. It's really nothing you can do other than, maybe negotiate what you can do or put more money on the table to get the other person willing to sell. But it's up to the seller to want to sell.
Okay. Let's see here. So, okay, I'm just gonna read it because this is interesting to me. Alicia Jackson, there was a house that I saw on Zillow for sale by owner, and the owner said he's selling it for $19,900, so basically $20K. But there's a water lien for $21K. Is there any way to handle a deal like this? So there's a water lien that's more than the house itself.
Oh, I've seen it numerous times.
Yeah, that's what he's just trying to sell it for. Is it worth $150?
Oh, okay.
He's trying to sell it for $40,000 or whatever, basically. Because assuming, well, I don't know what he's trying to do, but assuming
that's a big water bill, but
yeah, that's a huge water bill. He ain't paid it since
he never paid it.
Oh, your faucet must have been leaking.
There's a leak in this whole building.
He ain't paid it since the Titanic, has he?
They must turn the faucet on and just left it there for years.
So anyway, it depends on what ARV is and condition, obviously, So
I mean, one thing about it is for someone to warrant a deed, and it got to be clean of all liens. In a situation like this, the lien's got to be paid off to sell it. So if the property is not worth more than the lien, then there's no deal. If the property is worth more than the lien, then you can probably figure out there is a deal. But the thing about it, that $21,000 lien got to get paid off at the closing table.
At the closing table, yeah.
All right. Val did respond. She said it's 4 owners. So 4 condos, 4 owners.
Yeah, you're only dealing with 2 of them.
Do they all own all 4, or are they own each one individually?
I think she's meaning they individual owners, ain't she?
Yep. So you got to talk to each one of them.
Yeah, the other 2 of them good, and don't seem like one of them want to do nothing. You still got 2 more people they got to agree to sell or whatever.
That's interesting. I'm thinking about it like this: if you had a quad and you sold each one of your units, and 2 people wanted to tear theirs down, it seemed like that would be.
Buy me out. You got to buy me out. Buy me out.
Because I'm buy me out scenario.
You ain't got no name.
You can't tear down one of the units and not tear down another.
Hey, like one of my cousins said,
is it PG?
Oh, it's very PG. If him and his wife break up, he gonna get a notice, but he burning half of his house, the part of his house down that he's taking.
No, what about the legacy plan?
He says he's gonna give a notice to get out, but he burned half of his house, half of his house.
Hey, that marriage been up. Something. You know what?
Yeah, we should leave that one alone because you already planned. Yeah, okay.
He burned his half down.
Okay. Let me buy your half first.
No.
So
burn your half down.
Tamara's
That'll be funny. You like to literally, it could burn to just the
Just
point.
impossible. The whole house gonna get burned down.
spray your head with some fire retardant before I get there. Spray your head.
The rest of it gonna get done with smoke damage. It's just
We'll burn it all down.
So Tamara says she's having a problem with ARV learning. That skill is the reason why I'm hesitant. And then Aaron also follows up with, can you break down your ARV formula, please? And thank you. So,
well, it's not an ARV formula. I think people confuse them. But these two videos will help you a lot. You know, if you got questions after you watch, just post them in the comments section of the video. Text the letters GD to this number. And then after that, you watch that video, text the letters ARV, and those will explain. It's hard to explain those without a visual. You know, it's just difficult.
all right. So Antoine, wave at me when you're ready. I see you. Yeah, peace sign. Hey, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Is my audio good this time?
Your audio is great. Where are you calling from?
I'm in Birmingham.
Okay, round the corner.
What's happening, man?
What's going on? Hey, so I've been trying to call the Fund My Next Deal number. I haven't been getting no answer. What I need to do?
You probably don't have the right number. I didn't tell you what number I got on that site.
Okay.
So just text me and I'll send you her numbers directly. We're gonna put her contact information as far as her social media stuff up here before we end. But on the Fund My Next Deal site, ideally you're supposed to just submit your info. It takes you over to, you know, her channel or whatever. But you know, she actually has two office numbers that we'll send over to you.
Okay. I have two questions. First, the quick one. I was looking to purchase a home, and really didn't know anything about real estate. And over the last couple months, you know, with me wholesaling, I've learned a lot. One thing that I have learned, not to knock, and you know, real estate agents, but you know, I hate to say it, but at this point, we got a pre-approval from our bank. We don't really need an agent. I can submit my own contracts. I know how to talk to sellers. I know how to talk to realtors. But the realtor that's been helping us, well, that was helping us. He's helpful, and I don't necessarily want to cut him out the deal. But at the end of the day, I just feel like I don't need a realtor. We don't need a realtor anymore. So,
well, the state of Alabama is a double dip state, so you know an agent can represent both sides of it. I think I'm right. A dual agent. So technically, you don't need. So you know what to do. See, most people use real estate agents either for two reasons: either they don't know what to do, or they don't want to do it. Right.
Yeah.
So in your situation, if you're targeting properties that are listed, it's going to be in your best interest anyway not to use an agent because you know what to do. And so you give that agent the opportunity to make more money. So that can be a negotiating tool for you to get a cheaper price on a property, because a lot of times the agent has a lot of influence on the seller on what they're willing to accept. Example, you make an offer and the agent goes back to the seller and they're like, oh, we just got another lowball offer. I got to tell you about it, but I know we can do better. Okay.
Yeah.
They go with to them like that. Or they go to them by, I don't think we're going to be able to do any better than this right here. Right. those two ways of going to the seller is, okay, whatever you want to do. I know you know what you're doing. I trust you or whatever. So, and see what an agent, just to give you some numbers. See, a lot of agents, especially if they're in a state where you can double dip, dual agency or whatever, buyer and seller, is that say a house is, just for easy numbers sake, if a house is listed for $100,000, normally agents are going to make the commission is 6%. So normally they're going to have to depend on another agent to bring a buyer to the table, and they're going to split it. So now that 6 goes to 3, so 3% on 100,000 is 3,000.
Right.
Say you want to offer, Say you want to offer 60,000 for the house. but you went directly to the listing agent and you didn't bring your agent to the table. So now 6% of 60,000 is 3,600. Even though there was a $40,000 discount off the $100,000 original listing price. The agent actually makes $600 more because you contacted them directly, even though the house sold for $40,000 less or whatever. Now, sometimes it's hard to get them to see that or whatever, but some of them get it immediately or whatever. Their numbers per, they'll get it immediately. They contact me, okay, automatically I'm going to make more money. It'd be hard for me not to make more money than I normally make or whatever, because I'm going to be able to represent both sides. So to answer your question, you are right. You technically don't need an agent when you're making offers on listed properties because you know what you're doing.
Yeah. And more so the off-market properties, I really don't need them, then. I guess
you don't need them then. No,
at all. I guess I'm just at the end of the day, it's not a personal. I'm telling myself, which is true, it's not a personal decision to not use them. It's just business. You know what I mean? Because we're trying to save as much money as we can.
Well, I would say this to you. As a buyer, you don't pay for your realtor. The seller pays it. So it's actually free to you to use a real estate agent as a buyer because the seller pays the 6%. You don't pay it.
Okay.
And they do all the legwork for you. So it's not, you don't need them. And it's a greater benefit because as a listing agent, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to sway my client to the offer that net me the most money. And so if you come to me direct, now I get 6% instead of 3%. Absolutely, I'm going to sway that. But as a buyer, you don't pay for your agent. Now, there's some agents out there that's like, hey, you ain't gonna waste my time. You gotta give me $500 up front just to get me in my car to take you around and stuff. You don't want to deal with that agent, and there's a lot of agents that go out there and take you around for 2 or 3 months, don't ask you for anything and do all this lead work up front. But I just want you to know, as a buyer, you don't pay for an agent. That service is actually free for you, and the seller's gonna pay for that. So.
Understood.
Yeah, I guess you asking because you built a relationship with whoever you did, you hate to exactly. We don't need you no more. But that's just business. You don't. His services don't warrant. He's gotten paid off deals, right?
Oh, absolutely. He's good. You all have settled your business relationship. There was nowhere written that unless some of you gonna tell me that every deal you do from now on, he has to be involved in.
Oh, no.
No, he's settled. He's been paid each time you have closed. That's it. At any point, you say, hey man, you ain't got to tell him nothing or whatever. We just doing deals this way now or whatever because he's been paid. The obligation. Now if he's a friend, like, hey man, we appreciate everything you've done. We all won here, but we're going to start pursuing a lot of properties that are off market or whatever.
Yeah.
If we get some stuff, we definitely refer some stuff on. See, the way you can keep the relationship cool.
You gotta keep it.
If you're doing a lot of marketing, you're getting your hands on deals that have no chance of being a deal for you as a wholesaler or whatever you're doing. And you can just refer them over to them, try to get a fee for it or whatever, if they close on it. And that's how you keep the relationship, pretty good, is that a lot of the bleed over the deals you can't do anything with, just refer them over to them, so they can still eat too or whatever.
Don't burn your bridge with your real estate agent. Don't think they're devalued. I mean, there's a lot of value in having a real estate agent a part of your team. So it could be like, hey, I'm gonna go out here and kind of find my own deals. But hey, if you ever get some deals, because most investors and everybody gonna start with a real estate agent or a broker. So a lot of times they'll get these first deals as well. So if you have burnt that relationship, they're not sending that deal over to you. So just let them know that, hey, these are the properties I'm looking for. If you see anything in, your database or anything before you hit the market, let me know. So you can just continue to have that relationship with them, regardless.
Yeah. I was under the impression that as the buyer, as with them representing me as the buyer's agent, I would be paying 3% and the seller would be paying 3%. So you're telling me that everything is paid on both sides from the seller.
Absolutely. Seller
Okay.
pays a full 6% on both sides. The buyer pays anything, and also a good realtor or yourself, since you an expert in this game now, you want to negotiate the seller pay your closing costs too, or a portion of it. So the seller, it's their benefit for you to come to their table. So they would be willing to pay a portion of your closing costs, and they definitely pay the full 6% to those agents. Absolutely.
Got you. I learned something new tonight. I did. So
It's free
and
for you. The
my
free
next
service
question
for
is this. This is my next question. So there's driving for dollars. There was a property that I found boarded up. I got some information on it, and the person who owned it listed it. It didn't sell, and after it didn't sell, they passed away. With them passing away, it became back taxes. The taxes got behind, and so a company came in, purchased the property. Now they own the tax lien. Okay, so the people who purchased it, the tax lien are, they're all in about 70,000, based off what they paid for it. Now the ARV on this property is $300,000 or better. Okay, so this is just an assumption. I assume that because the person passed, the inside of the property doesn't need a lot of work or anything like that. I guess my question is, would a hard money lender lend on a tax deed type property, or no?
No and yes. I mean, I didn't have this scenario prior, and we was about the finances. Is one state, I can't remember it. This is probably mid last year. That gave this client 3 months to come back and buy the tax lien. However, we was about to finance it because he had enough time to do everything. We got access to the property, get appraisal, but it was the purchase agreement that they couldn't give him. So the fact that it wasn't a real purchase agreement, we couldn't finance it because the city or the county didn't give them a purchase agreement. Is another type of document when it comes to purchasing those tax liens. So because there wasn't a real purchase agreement, I couldn't finance it. So so it makes one of those things where you just got to take it down and then you just refinance out of that. Yeah. Unless you can get a real purchase agreement and things of that nature, that's different.
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, I want to say 10 times out of 10, county is not giving you a purchase agreement.
Yeah. Well, it's actually on June the 4th, the company that bought it will have the deed, and so the people told me to just send them an offer.
Oh, well, that's a different scenario.
Well,
I mean,
it's only going, if he's in Alabama, it's only going to be a tax deed, though. It's still not going to be a warranty deed or whatever.
Okay.
Well, it's going to have to go through a quiet title.
How long do you do the quiet title in them?
Anywhere from what I've been told, I've never actually pursued it, but when I've spoken to attorneys about it, anywhere from 4 to 8 months. Generally can cost between $4,000 to $8,000, just depending on who you're using. Yeah.
And how many years it takes for you to be able to do your quiet title? Y'all a 1 year state or 3 year state?
It's 3. It's 3 years. Mine is weird. I know it's 3. It started like it's almost 6. Now, if they've had it that long or whatever, once the state gives you a tax deed, it can't be redeemed, right? So whatever that stage is, he says it's in June, then they've exhausted all of that time or whatever, from my understanding how it goes. So it'll be a tax deed, but to get financing, of course you're in that game, Renika.
You won't be able to finance that until you do a quiet title and take full possession and get a warranty deed.
Yeah. Okay. So I wouldn't even be able to finance that through a hard money lender.
Until you get a full warranty deed on it.
Gotcha.
You have to have a full warranty deed. It has to have a warranty deed.
Okay, yeah. So that's okay. I'll stay away from that one then because I ain't got the cash to buy that one. But okay. Thank you so much. You guys answered my questions tonight.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night, Antoine.
You too.
Thank you.
Good talk. Good talk.
Yeah. That's good.
Ty, I'm gonna ask this question for Renika. If you could get the banner up for me for my next deal, I can't find it.
Oh, I'm on this. It don't. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks a lot.
No, it's under, if you go in there, it's under Flippinar.
I just had branding or something like that. Okay. So Alicia Jackson wants to know, does anyone have a good response when you tell the seller you're an investor, but they ask, are you a wholesaler?
If a seller asks you that, you don't have a deal. Trust me.
Right.
Trust
They're
me.
very knowledgeable.
Yeah, you don't have a motivated seller. Not saying motivated sellers are dumb or whatever. Most people don't know what wholesaling is. You walk into Walmart right now and have out $100. Can you give me the definition of wholesaling? And you'll walk out of there with your $100 if you ask 10 people, right? And so if a seller says that, it's going to be so rare that you're going to have a deal or whatever. But if they say that, they already, that if that's your end game, you don't have the capacity to buy it, I'm not even going to try to work through that. You know what I'm saying? It's not even worth it. Yeah, yes, I am. Thanks for having a good day. That's what we do. Buy, whatever. I'm not even going to work through that if they ask that question. It's going to be too difficult. Trust me. Ask me how I know.
How you know?
I tried it.
Okay.
Too many deals out there to be tripping about. Okay, yeah. Well, you don't want to deal with wholesale.
The average seller would never ask if you're a wholesaler.
Never.
The average seller has no idea about wholesale.
Yeah. With all this stuff out here on the internet, the average person still don't know what it is.
Still don't know. Yeah.
All right, Renikia, this is the time. Antoine there just asked how to get in contact with you, and I'm sure other listeners here would love to know too, but they may not be for sure what services your company offers them. So if you could give us a rundown of the services that you're able to provide.
Yes, thank you so much. As always, I truly appreciate being a part of the Flipman Show. I am the owner of a private lending firm, and we specialize in real estate investing across the board. When you want to take that real estate business to the next level, of course, we talk about buying and selling real estate with absolutely no money or little to any money as wholesaling. And then one day you may want to take it to fix and flip, buying whole, new construction, development, multifamily, quads, duplexes, and things of that nature. And financing is very, very important to have in place when you're looking to take it to that level. We specialize in fix and flip, 90% purchase, up to 90% purchase, 100% of your rehab. We specialize in new construction as well as rental property. Say, for instance, you want to buy that cash flowing property, we lend up to 80% of that property and we wrap a true 30-year note around it. All of our loans goes into your personal name. It goes into your business name. Nothing goes into your personal name. We do not need tax returns, income verification, or pay stubs. It's just your ability to bring the money to the table to close on your deal. If you're interested in any of our financing options, just go to fundmynextdeal.com. I'm very, very DM friendly. So to the young gentleman earlier, if you DM me right after this meeting, we can talk this evening about any question that you have about financing, and I'll make sure you have my contact information too. We can jump on the call tomorrow. So feel free to contact me if y'all have any questions.
All right, there you have it, guys. Fundmynextdeal.com and Renikia, first name, last name Williams, across all social media platforms. Hopefully, Aaron Freelon, that extra question about upscaling from wholesaling to fix and flipping, there are some finance options for you there. Guys, as I roll over and change the screen here, we're going to close out by with Ty answering the show's topic question of today, which is, can you only wholesale distressed houses?
No. House can be a brand new construction and you can wholesale it if you can get the numbers on it that you need. Doesn't matter. Ideally, well, not ideally, but a lot of times, quote unquote, a distressed property, I guess people talking about the condition, that may be one of the reasons why a seller, an owner may sell cheap. But in reality, you're not really looking for distressed properties per se. You're looking for motivated sellers, no matter what their reason is. Again, the house can be in great condition, but if they want to sell it cheap enough based on whatever is going on in their life, that's what you're looking for. That's the game you're playing, is that you're looking for motivated sellers, regardless of what the condition of the property is. It just like, but just when you're driving for dollars and things of that nature, those are a lot easier to identify. And because it is sitting there needing repairs, just visually needing that, it's a higher probability that they may be interested in, number one, selling, and number two, selling at a price that works for you. But to answer the question, can you, maybe I phrased that wrong. Can you only wholesale? But no, you can wholesale more than distressed properties is my point.
All right,
You
guys.
can sell anything if the numbers right.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That bridge I can wholesale you.
Oh my gosh, not the bridge in the tree in Brooklyn. Okay.
Can't own no bridges, can I?
Huh?
Can't own no bridges, can I?
No, you can't.
Not on no public roads.
No, you can slap your name on it, but you can't own it.
Can't own no bridges. That's interesting. But guys, we've been rolling pretty hard here. We appreciate everyone that's joined us tonight. Appreciate both the ladies here to put this together. You didn't get your questions answered, post them in the comment section of any video, and I answer those on a daily basis. We are live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays around 4-ish, 30-ish.
Heavy on the
Eastern or whatever. We somehow have to play. We changed our mics, and so we have to somewhat cater to the workout facility next door. And my girl has 1, 2. So we have to. So that affects the copywriting with TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff, or whatever. Because the music comes through, and they think we're trying to play music that we don't have rights to play. So whatever. So we have to go a little earlier. So we have to look at their schedule. So anyway, so we appreciate it again, everyone showing up. This will go into replay mode on all of these platforms, on YouTube, on Instagram and TikTok. If you want to get all the information that you need to learn how to do this, just tap the link in the bio of either one of those platforms, and the world is yours. Oh, we do have the Facebook group. Go over there and join it. I'm gonna start posting special content in there just for the Facebook group. So Wholesale and Real Estate with the Flip Man Facebook group. Nothing else. We'll see you guys on the flip side.
All right, y'all. We're out.
Text me and I'll text you back. Text me and I'll text you back. Text me then I'll text you back. You text me then I'll text you back. You text me then I'll text you back. TikTok, you don't stop. I will help you make your paper stack. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at now? 215-964-52439.